Raiders, welcome to another episode. Today's going to be all about epic champions. We are actually going to look through every epic I have. I'm going to give you the review of the ones I have, and you're going to help me choose which one to build next by voting in the comments. That vote is going to come with a giveaway. Not sure what the giveaway is yet. I got to figure out how to gift in Raid, but that is going to come with a Raid giveaway if you're interested in getting some free Raid Shadow Legends stuff for helping me choose which epic to build out next. But in addition, this is also going to let you know which epics to target, which epics that you're going to want to build for your own goals on your own account. That's what we're doing today in this Raid Shadow Legends video. And if you're about to start Raid, this should be an amazing primer. And we're going to have the best new code for you, the best new way to get Raid for you in the next couple of videos. So make sure you stay tuned if you're interested in starting Raid Shadow Legends. We got a new custom-made code coming for you. And what you're looking at right now is inside Raid. We're actually not going to use this. We are instead going to come right over to yeah, and we're just going to look through Hell Hades. We're going to use Hell Hades as our site for this because I mean Hell Hades has the information we want. So rather than skip back and forth, pretend it's elsewhere, Hell Hades is the information we want. So Seer is one of the best epics in the game, and according to Hell Hades, the best epic I have. I'm always a little surprised that this is what Seer looks like. It just doesn't feel like that's what the Seer is. But Seer is the ultimate in wave clearing, in the absolute ultimate in hell in I can speak, I swear. The absolute ultimate in wave clearing in the entire game of Raid Shadow Legends. So, okay, literally, premier wave clearing epic using buff removal to feel massive AoE damage, removes buffs off all your champions and all opponent champions. Doom Tower and Curse City waves are insanely easy to kill here. That's also going to be really important for hard mode dungeons, and particularly Dragon and Ice Golem, where getting past those waves quickly and efficiently is going to be hugely important. So we've got a insanely good hard mode champion, an insanely good early Fire Knight, right? Like, so you're going to kill Fire Knight regular with this champion, then it's not going to be great for hard. Not going to be great for regular Spider, but going to absolutely crush hard mode Spider. Going to absolutely crush Dragon and Ice Loom either way. If those are the areas you're looking to grow, this is going to be an amazing, amazing, amazing champion. Let's look at why in the kit. So, the most of the kit is sort of a nothing burger, right? Knockout is whatever. It's attack an enemy 50 chance of granting an extra turn. Extra turns are good because they get you back to Karma Burn. Everything is about Karma Burn here. So we also don't care about the lead. So Clan Banner is 30% increased crit rate buff for 2 turns, 25% weaken debuff on all enemies. That means you're going to crit more and you're going to hit the enemies harder. Great stuff on a 3 turn. Then on a 4 turn, once booked out, we've got remove all buffs from all allies and enemies. Attacks all enemies. Damage increases according to the number of removed buffs. 50% chance of placing a sleep on all enemies for 1 turn. The plants of sleep increased by 5% for each buff. We don't really care about the sleep because this is going to one-shot everyone. This is multiplier is non enemy max HP for not bosses. It is insane damage to waves. This is the best thing you're going to want to do for waves. Seer is utterly insane. I have her fully built out. I use her all the time. She's absolutely excellent. Genuinely great champion. Similarly great is Deacon Armstrong. See, like the 4.5s here, except for one, two that we'll talk about later. The 4.5s here, to me, are basically legendaries in disguise. And Deacon Armstrong has the extra benefit of being amazingly cheap to build. 4.5 stars. I have him fully built. He was one of the first ones I got. He's really, really good everywhere because he's going to be able to look, he's amazing into Dragon Lord, into Demon Lord. So if Demon Lord, the most important thing you can possibly clear in Raid Shadow Legends is Demon Lord. The most important thing is to push that because that's how you're going to get more shards. That's how you're going to get more books. Books and shards are the currency that fuel your account as much as anything else. Amazing for that. Waves, absolutely great for waves. Waves have less defense. They melt away. All the dungeons, like almost all the dungeons, I guess. The main dungeons, Fire Knight, Spider, Dragon, and Iron and Ice Golem, as long as you're not at hard mode yet, this is going to be insane progression. You're probably ditching this for hard mode dungeons, but fine. But hey, You know what you're going to be playing forever? Doom Tower. Dark Fae, this champion is how I beat Dark Fae. I use the turn meter reduction that Deacon is going to provide. I nuke their defense and I'm able to one shot all the clones. Just great stuff. The other really hard thing to do, really hard thing to deal with in for me in Doom Tower is Scarab King. Like I've got Bommel covered. We'll talk about how later. We'll talk about epics you can use for Bommel later. I don't think Frost Spider, Eternal Dragon, Magma Dragon, and other Spider, Celestial Griffin are especially hard. Scarab King, Dark Fan, Dreadhorn, Bommel are the hard ones. Being able to kill Dark Fae is great. Being able to kill Scarab King is huge. How to do this? Well, first, speed is the most important stat in the game. All ally speed in all battles by 19% is huge. Just says I get to go more than the boss. Great stuff. Lovely. The A1 is fine. It's got a leech, right? It's just a two-hitter with a leech. Leech is a little bit extra survivability. We're fine. What we really want though is we want to get the time compression to 3 turn cooldown and the sweeping retribution to a 3 turn cooldown, because time compression is going to fill the turn meter of all allies by 15% and decrease turn meter of all enemies by 15%. That's a 30% swing, and you immediately get an extra turn. What that extra turn means is that the attack all enemies one buffed, 100% decreased defense is always up. So keeping that defense always up is insane extra damage. Raid is a game where everything is about speed and buffs and debuffs, and saying my opponents always have negative 60% to their defense, and I basically every other turn have plus 15% to my turn meter, and they have negative 15% is going to win games. It's insane. These are some of the best epics in the game. An epic that I'm still working on building. I have Whisper. I have Whisper built out. Whisper is the best single damage dealing epic in the game, period, bar none. It is a defense ignoring nuke that gets an insane amount of extra turns. It's really not super complicated. This is another huge demon lord, but also as beneficial. This is the first Hydra champ we've looked at. Being able to absolutely tear through Hydra, being able to wreck Hydra heads for a bajillion damage is absolutely huge. Similarly, this is going to not do a ton in dungeons, except we've got our first Sand Devil and Shogun's Grove. Those are, again, harder dungeons to deal with. Whisper is dealing with the stuff that we are otherwise struggling with here. Being able to greatly handle the Hydra, being able to greatly handle the Sand Devil's Grove, being able to greatly handle the Shogun Grove, also great into Dark Fae and Scarab King. You love to see it. So what does this do? We have an attack in dungeons. We don't care. Attack one enemy with a 50% chance of a weaken for 2 turns. Oh, great. More damage. Let's go. Tons of damage on that A1 and can do more. Then we have Charged Assault. A lovely 3 turn cooldown. 50% increased attack and 30% crit rate buff on champion for 2 turns before attacking. If target is higher max HP than this champion. More a boss killer. They always do. It's going to ignore defense if the target is under weakened. You heard that right. Ignore defense, not like do less damage, not some ignore straight up, not negative 60, straight up ignore defense with a 50% increased attack is huge and provides your own weaken. Then attacks one enemy 2 times and grants an extra turn if the target's under decreased defense and weaken. Well, we're going to need the decreased defense to come from somewhere else, but hey, Deacon Armstrong, a Michelangelo, if you were playing for that, all of these will do that. You get an extra turn, which means that you are getting this 4 turn down to a 3 turn, and you're getting back around to stuff more often. Also, Unrelenting is absurd. 10% chance of granting an extra turn whenever this champion lands a crit. Well, you're going to have a 100% crit rate, so you always have a 10% chance of a extra turn. And we're going to increase damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. Just casual boss killing here. And what makes this even better, and we're going to look, this is the first champion that we have to look at gear for, because PvE, we very much want to get as many turns as possible. It's actually not listed here, but the best build I found for this champion are reflex. We want cooldown and we want extra turns galore, and we just sort of go off attack, 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 attack. I very much disagree with the PvE artifact sets here. Lifesteal, Immortal, Cruel, all these are fine. We want extra turns. We want extra turns and just go off with this champion. You do that, you win the game. It's not complicated how powerful Whisper is for some of the harder content. Just one of my favorite champions. I can't wait to empower some of these. But I have the extra Whisper, but I gotta build champions before I start doing extra builds. Geo, is the champion that let my account progress. Getting Geo early made me fall in love with the game, straight up. He is utterly amazing. He is the ultimate boss killer. Probably, in my opinion, he's the best epic in the game for early game players. Amazing into Demon Lord, one of the best damage dealers. Amazing into Hydra. Amazing into almost every dungeon. Not great into Dragon, but Spider, Fire Knight, Ice Golem, Iron Twins, and Sand Devil. That's absurd. Still great into Ice Golem hard. Crushes Doom Tower. Dreadhorn Bobble, no problem. Gonna reflect all that damage. Scarab King, yes. The Dark Fae, not as good, but still pretty good. Dark Fae not getting turn meter is insane. And the power is really, we're not going to read everything. The Tremor Staff is fine. Decrease accuracy is fine. Attacks everyone is fine. Creeping Petrify is really nice. It basically removes all debuffs. Removing all debuffs from a target is really nice. What we care about is Quicksand Grasp and the Stone Guard. So Quicksand Grasp is going to completely deplete the target's turn meter, fill the turn meter by that amount, and then, which means basically we're going to be able to get that 3 turn down to a 2 turn often. We get a HP burn and a weaken for 3 turns. Burn is hugely strong. It's a 1 target burn, so like how good could that be? Well, it's insane because Stone Guard. We're decreasing damage all allies received by 15% and deflect that damage onto each enemy under an HP burn. So anyone under an HP burn, i.e. the boss, right, is going to, our champions are going to basically reflect 15 damage. However, um, if this champion is attacked, it's 30% of the damage that's reflected. When deflecting damage on each enemy, it has a 30% chance of dealing additional damage equal to 3% of the target's max HP. That's right, it's max HP, 3% damage, and reflect damage on the HP burn for every time that he's attacked. That's crazy. This is the boss killer of boss killers. Look at what this is good into. This is the like, if you have a choice of epics and you can get Geomancer, Geomancer is the epic you want straight up. I think Vogoth is the first one here that's overrated. He's really good. He's a passive healer. That's what he's here for. Really good into a few harder things, but not like completely insane. So like fine into our clan bosses, right? 4 stars isn't anything to sneeze at, but we can generally do better. Really good into Fire Knight, because he's got a triple hitter. Really good into Ice Golem. Iron Twins is where he's really going to sing. Once you start wanting to collect souls, he's going to be a really powerful champion. But Iron Twins is going to put up so much damage that you're going to have to like really make sure that you have a way to like keep him going. Um, Good into Redhorn Bommel, terrible into Scarab King, weak into Dark Fae. That's why I'm like, this is fine, but like I don't really get the big push here. Worth it to get through some early dungeons, but this is a fall off reasonably hard. Triple hitter with increased duration of random debuff is really nice. I have this almost fully built. I need to finish building my Vogoth. I need to suck it up and finish building my Vogoth. I need my last cooldown on Wave of Revulsion. This is a provoke and a decrease attack on all enemies for 2 turns. So that's really good, right? Provoke is 1 turn, and the decreased attack is 2 turns on anyone who receives the provoke. But bosses are immune to provoke, so they're not getting the decreased attack, which means that this is just an attack all enemies against bosses, which is kind of poopy. Good into like wave content, not amazing into bosses. But here's where the money is. Whenever this champion is attacked, heal all allies by 50% of the damage received. Only heals by 20% of the damage received from boss attacks. This champion only receives half of the heal that all other allies heal. So if everyone gets attacked, right, he's going to immediately heal 25% for himself and 50% of his own damage for everyone else. So if you get his HP hard enough, he's really hard to kill. He also places a leech on whoever attacks him for 2 turns. Whenever attacked, if the attacker is under provoke, it can also increase one of their cooldowns. Really nice little passive that helps make him survivable. I think he's a little overrated. I'm not gonna lie. He's good. He's an undead, which is harder to find, but he's not like broken or insane to me. Just a good champion. Maybe I need to get some more HP and finish him, but I don't think Vogoth is one of my favorites. Demetha is one of my favorites. Demetha's insane. Demetha's really simple. This little dwarf lady has a 3 turn block damage and a buff extension, which means she is like the queen of unkillable clan boss teams. You can look up how to make those. I'll do a video on them at some point. I don't have the gear for it yet, but she is the utter queen of unkillable clan boss teams. Completely broken into Demon Lord, can do the same unkillable nonsense into Iron Twins, which she's gonna rock all the easy dungeons because of that, right? She's not as good into Doom Tower. She's frankly bad into waves, and she's not good into hard mode. So she's got a cap on her use. But hey, an unkillable clan boss team will carry your account for a while once you get to that point. So there is that. So one attacks one enemy 2 times with a shield. The worst part about her is this ability has 8 levels of books that you can go into it. I got lucky and I got Light of the Deep and Channel Bloodline finished first. Light of the Deep, increased duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, amazing. Then decreased duration of all ally debuffs by 1 turn, amazing. Just peels off things like poison and weaken. Also heals all allies by 2% of their max HP. Great. So you have a nice HP team, gonna get a nice big heal. Further 2.5 for each turn added to or removed from the duration of buffs and debuffs by this skill. Love it. So you can end up getting a massive heal out of that and increasing all buffs. There's some buffs that just go forever. Block damage is not doesn't count as a buff really for this, which sucks, but I get it. Place a block damage on allies for 1 turn and a 50% heal on all allies for 2 turns. So you just get some well, you get to skip 1 damage and heal. Great stuff. Nothing complicated. This is an amazing champion. We're gonna keep going. Target Demetha, although it's hard to target Void Epics. Akemtum is great. Another Void Epic. And by the way, we should have a Void event soon coming up for the Fusion, so I would assume Void Ectum. This is a Poison debuffer, and he's really, really great in Waves and Hydra, apparently. So my Akemtum melts. He has no survivability. Great into Demon Lord and Hydra is great to have. Great into Dragon, really great into Spider Hard and Dragon Hard, where getting through those waves is huge. But this dude just melts for me. Like, he has no survivability. If I can get him survivable, I think he'd be amazing. Because speed in all battles by 18, not the 19 everyone else has, but fine. Still really great into PvE content. From there, we have basically 2 skills, right? 2 active skills. Attack one enemy 3 times, each hit poisons. And if they're under text, each hit can also spread that poison. Debuff spread. Love it. Attack all enemies 3 times. Each hit has a 60% chance of increasing hex, or will place hex. Cool. We can make that a 3 turn with basically a hit everyone. So we can put hex on everyone, which means we're going to poison everyone, and then 80% chance of linking down from 1 poison to enemies under hex. So if we hex everyone, our poison is going to hit everyone passively whenever they receive damage from poison debuffs. Any poison debuffs, not just his. That's great. He's amazing for waves. He's amazing. If he just didn't die in 17 seconds, I would absolutely adore him. But I got to figure out how to build mine so he doesn't. All right, this is our first choice of build a epic, Royal Guard. Royal Guard is the first epic I could build here. I have Royal Guard completely unbuilt. He is an AoE max HP nuke. An AoE max HP nuke means that he's going to peel through a bunch of stuff. That means he's good in Hydra. He's also good in all of the regular dungeons. That might be great for your account. It's not great for mine. I have very little problem with the regular dungeons at this point, outside of occasionally Ice Golem. And Iron Twins is hard, but I'm on hard mode dungeons. I can handle Spider. I don't need Royal Guard for Spider. I don't need Royal Guard for Dark Fae, who I can handle easily. Bommel or Scarab King. Nope. So he would largely be here for wave content for me. What does he offer us for these wave content? We have a decreased defense on an A1, which is huge, right? A lovely, like, up to 65% chance of a decreased defense is great. Then, the big one, takedown. Attack all enemies, damage increase according to enemy max HP on a oh, that one doesn't book down. It's a 4 turn. So max HP giant nuke is always nice to have access to. And then hamstring, 4-time attacks are nice. 4 times at random, each hit has 60% chance of a 30% decreased speed for 2 turns, 60% chance to decrease target's term by 20%. Amazing, amazing, amazing into Fire Lord, into Fire Lord, into come on, brain. Woo, talking about too many at once. Into the Fire Knight, not great into Fire Knight Hard, but Fire Knight Normal. That's going to be insanely good on a 4 turn. So I don't know. Feels like a really, really good early game champion, but my account just sort of skipped the need for Royal Guard, and then I got Royal Guard too late. But you can vote for it if you want. If you want to enter that free giveaway, let's keep going from Royal Guard. Royal Guard might be one that you want. Not amazing for me. Speaking of not amazing for me, it's Allure. Allure has one real use. She is amazing, amazing turn meter control. She's great for both Fire Knight regular and Dark Fae, stuff I don't really have trouble with. She's not great for anything else, but a benefit, she requires no books. She's also supposed to be great for Scarab King, but I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really get how when we look at her thing. Her A1 is she's going to attack 3 times at random and decrease turn meter by 25% for each critical hit. So you max crit damage, and she just peels away turn meter. Absolutely insanely good. Just fantastic. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of 30% decreased debuff buff for 1 turn. Places a sleep on target under decreased debuff. Okay, whatever. That's not great. We almost never use that. We also almost never use the Hellish Blaze. Um, Attacks one enemy, 30% chance of inflicting critical hit, and ignores 50% defense. That doesn't do as much as you would like to. It's a good damage thing. I don't know why it's listed as godlike. It looks like it's going to be great, and it's just not. We just use Psychic Whip over and over with this champion. If you are like can't beat Dark Fae, that's the Doom Tower rotation right now, right? If you can't beat Dark Fae, if you're struggling with Scarab King, if you need Fire Knight help, you're gonna want Allure to get 6-star and ignore books. Nice and easy to build, which is fun but great. Whatever. I think Seeker should be 4.5 stars. I think Seeker is freaking fantastic. Uh, Not what I expected Seeker to look like, by the way, but I think Seeker is utterly fantastic. Turn Beast Meter and extra turns are incredibly strong. Some people use this in Arena. I tend not to like this in Arena, but it's fine if you want it. Turn Boost is strong in Arena, as I look at the 18 messages I have for reasons. Um, Great into Demon Lord Clown Boss, right? I like this champion into Hydra, not super high ranked, but this comes with a provoke, which is important for Hydra, and then just good for dungeons, good for wave, just a generally good champion. Not incredible. I guess the sheer utility is why this is 4, not 4.5, is this is just good everywhere without being insane anywhere. Um, I really, really, I use this in my main Hydra team, right? My best Hydra team. Attack one enemy 2 times. Each chance has a provoke chance. You have to provoke one of the heads in Hydra, so this is great. Period. Fills turn meter of all allies by, this is where the money is, Tailwind. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 30%, and they get a 50% increased attack for 2 turns, and then you get an extra turn. So every 3 turns, you get an extra turn, right? From this champion, and you're basically going to be able to keep that filling your turn meter by 30% every 2 turns because it's going to be refilling, and then which means you're going to be able to always have increased attack. It's sort of like Deacon that way. Deacon's just a better buff, right? And Deacon hits everyone. Deacon's just better, right? Deacon does 30% also, but decreased defense is better than increased attack. Basically, that's it. But they're the same basic concept here. Although provoke has extra value. Not saying don't get me wrong, provoke has serious extra value. We also have just casual kill the champion by 20%, place 60 deep increased defense buff on all allies when hit with a critical hit. Unfortunately, you can't guarantee that, so meh. I get why it's 4 stars. I really, 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 really enjoy certain champions when they're on your team. You just recognize them doing better. That's one. Another champion we can opt for me to build is Husk. This is champion 2. Champion 1 of opt to build is Royal Guard. Champion 2 is Husk. I'm not building a lore, sorry. Husk, I have at 6 stars, but not fully built. Husk is fantastic for very simple reasons. Husk is going to be Hydra for me. I don't know why it's only 4 stars. He should be more than 4 stars. He's really, really good into all the dungeons and Hydra, and we'll talk about why as we go down. First, a nice provoke chance. We are going to have to book that out, which we have not. This is why we have to build it, right? We have to book, we have to do masteries, all that stuff. So we are going to have to book out the provoke to get up to a 50% chance of a provoke on 2 hits. Perfectly good. Really, really, really effective. But then we also have a attack all enemies at 30%. Damage inflicted is proportional to many enemy max HP. All attack max HP plus the provoke means this is good against Hydra, right? We get to hit all the Hydra heads for max HP. It's not going to stun them, but it is going to hit max HP, and it is going to on a 4 turn, which is the same as Royal Guard, while also providing that provoke that we need. Then we have a lovely passive, right? Oh wait, this is an active. Excuse me. Attacks one enemy, damage increases according to this champion's current HP. So if we have more AP, we just do more damage. Retaliate is wait, less HP, more damage. Okay, whatever, that's fine. We don't actually care about retaliate. It's about despair and burning iron, but both of those are really, really, really nice into the Hydra, and Hydra is really hard to get into. Hydra is something that I'm just getting into. I'm able to really compete in Hydra now, at least on the first 2 levels, but it took me quite a while to get there. Sylar is another option to fully build. Um, Sylar is a 4-star void, again, one you might be able to get. Um, Sylar is really good into Spider, really good into Ice Golem, both normal dungeons. Wave content, however, is king here. Scarab King remains a problem for me. Dark Fae is always nice to have extra help for. Terrible into Bommel, but I have a Bommel answer. I have Dark Smile. I have Commodus Dark Smile. So, look, attack all enemies is nice, right? Toxic Cloud, attack all enemies with a decrease accuracy for 2 turns. How that doesn't poison, I don't know. But a 3-turn decrease accuracy is nice. They're going to be less likely to hit their debuffs. You can attack all enemies 2 ways. But then the real money is the leaden legs. Place a 30% decrease speed on all enemies for 2 turns. Decrease the turn meter for all enemies by 40%. Enemies don't get turns, you win games, right? It's not super complicated. We have that on a 4-turn. You get extra turns. You buff the speed as much as possible. You buff the accuracy as much as possible. They don't have accuracy. They don't get turns. You do. That's insanely good into Dark Fae. That's why this is so good into Iron Golem, because Iron Golem, you have to have decreased speed. Have to. And there are not many great epics that have decreased speed. And thus we end up with a very, very, very strong Sylar. Sylar is a perfectly fine option, one I would not be sad if you picked for me to build out. Fennex I don't have built, but Fennex I will have built. It's not even an option. I 6-starred Fennex already. I'm in the process of running him through Minotaur. He is a just ridiculously hard hitter. Like, he hard hits and blocks for 5. He is really good into Iron Golem because you guessed it, he's got the reduced speed, right? He's really good. He's like a damn near requirement into Ice Golem because he can stop the stupid golemy guys from coming back. So he's going to attack one enemy and place an extra hit if the target has any debuffs, put a debuff, and then enemies killed by the skill can't be revived. This is the hardest hitting A1 from any epic. It's just that simple. I like to run him with Mad Hatter because Mad Hatter not only places debuffs, Mad Hatter has an ally attack that uses an A1, and then he hits super hard. This is what we're doing here. We're going to Ice Golem the crap out of him. Then attacks all enemies, 75% booked up to 100 of block debuffs. Love it. Block active skills if the skill doesn't place a block buffs. So if we can't block buffs, we're going to block their active skills. We're happy with either of those. And we're just going to casually decrease bomb debuff detonation by 1 turn. If we have Talia, we don't have Talia. Sorry. And then one more. Attack one enemy, 60% chance of decreased defense and decreased speed for 2 turns. And we can book that all the way up to being a 4-turn absolute monster of a skill, where this can be one of our decreased defense and decreased speed champions as well. And then we can increase that really, 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 really good if you just happen to have Mad Hatter. Fennex is getting built. Fennex is gross good. Into like the exact content I wanted to, right? Iron Golem is a place I'm trying to deal with. Ice Golem hard is the only one hard mode I can't really get into. Um and then we can use some Doom Tower, but like it's the two main things. And then like good into Chimera and Hydra, I'm perfectly happy to have. This is our first really good Chimera champion too. We're not going to go forever, I promise. We're going to do Umbral Enchantress, another one you can choose for me to build. Umbral Enchantress is real solid. Um, this is a control epic that has an area of effect provoke and a block debuffs that can just like turn off enemies in various encounters. This is yet another crowd controller that rocks Hydra. Like, the crowd provoke is really good to Hydra. Hydra is a place we really care about. Remember, we don't care about Ice Golem normal anymore, so that's not great for us, but might be for you. And then fine into various content, except again, really, really good for waves. So like wave content is going to be straight money. So attacks when enemy and damage increases, HP decreases. We don't care about the A1. It's just a thing you do when you don't have anything else to do. Decent damage though. 2 is amazing. Attack all enemies and 100% chance of block buffs for 3 turns. There's just plenty of bosses that beats, right? You block all their buffs and you're just like, no, you're not a problem for me. But then the crowd controller attacks all enemies, places a provoke for 2 turns, and unkillable on this champion for 2 turns. 2-turn provoke and 2-turn unkillable is wild. She's just gonna take and eat a million hits during these 2 turns. She's also got a block active skills on herself for 5 turns, and it can't be resisted or blocked and can't be removed. So like you're just gonna have to deal with the block active skills, but fine, right? Like you're just okay, fine. You there's already a 5-turn cooldown on this, so it's not like you can do it again anyway. So you don't care about your other active skills. You'd like to get to the block buffs. So you tend to use the block buffs first, and then you use the Undying Evil, and then you just say, okay, good, we're good to go. You can't, you're provoked. You can't do anything but keep attacking me. I'm not gonna die, and the rest of my team does whatever the hell they want. Love, love, love this champion. Would love to finally build it. Umbrella Enchantress is a mean, mean, mean champion. Into so much different content. I have Mausoleum Mage built, so you can't suggest it. Mausoleum Mage is the most underrated champion around. Um, I don't use him as much anymore, but just like the getting through dungeons the first time, this is a really powerful champion. I don't really fight Amius yet. Eventually, I will get to Amius. But this is really strong into basically content I clear now with better champions, but still was really nice for the time being. Um, an A1 that does decrease speed is just nice, right? It's just nice. Um, Speed is important. But then we have a 30% crit rate and a 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns, and a block debuff for 1 turn. If that block debuff was 2 turns, this would be one of my favorite champions of the game, and I'd still use it. That 1 turn, if you can time it right, is still great. Then the third, remove all debuffs from all allies, then heals all allies by 10% of the champion's max HP, and a further 10% if one or more debuffs are removed. Fills turn meter by 15% if 2 or more debuffs are removed from that ally. Lovely, right? Blocks debuffs, removes debuffs, heals, increases defense. Great survivability. Totally slept on. No one ever talks about Mausoleum Mage. So happy I built him, even if he doesn't get a ton of use now. Ceres is another one you can choose to build. Madame Ceres is largely PvP, so I don't love it, but still strong overall in PvE. Largely in content I've cleared, but still not bad to have access to. Hydra is where I would consider using her right now because she has a block debuffs, and that's really, really strong, right? Block debuffs and remove debuff is something you really want in Hydra. Also really good into Scarab King. Um, like Dark Fae, just generally a good all around champion, if not insane. I won't use her in arena, so I've been putting off building her. She is literally sitting at like rank 1 epic, right? Like rank 1 at 4 stars. So she can place fear on her A1, which is great. Um 30% if under a debuff, which is nice. 45% if under 2 or more debuffs. Play her with some debuffers and go to town. You'll be totally okay. Um, Trick or Treat. Tricks and treats attack all enemies, 40% chance of stealing a random buff from each target, and places block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns if any buff is stolen, and a true fear on all enemies who have been buff stolen. So that's amazing in arena. If you can wait for a Hydra to have any buff, then this is amazing into Hydra. We also have remove all buffs from all enemies and a 50% increased attack and 6% increased defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. Good stuff, right? Just casually places a shield of 10% max HP at each turn, which basically means you have plus 10% HP. When an ally under a shield is attacked, has a 30% chance of fear on the attacker for 1 turn. The fear doesn't do anything into some content, but this is still really, really, really strong for Scarab King because you're just going to consistently have a shield, which is going to help her resist the provoke. And then she's got block and remove buffs, which means she's pretty good for Scarab King. Just a good option. Look, I need some help with Scarab King. I can use some extra Hydra help. Ceres is a fine vote. We're gonna get down to. I think we're gonna get down to Hotatsu. I'm not buffing. I'm not doing anything under Hotatsu. Although I maybe we'll look at a few like select ones here. I don't care about Miscreated Monster right now. All booked and built. All right, let's skip ahead. I have Miscreated Monster and Rector Drath built. Both are absolutely incredible. One of the best, probably the best epic healer. Just really, really good crowd control. Amazing, amazing, amazing for Spider. Skrank is an option for building. Skrank is a poisoner. So I don't know if I want to build Skrank, largely because I have like 3 other epic poisoners built. I have Orn, I have Akemtum, I have Xenomorph, and I have like I knew it was legendary, but I have Xenomorph, and I also have I lost the name of Homeboy. Ezio. I have Ezio. So, like, do I care about this? Still, this is a really good Hydra champion, and that means there's always a possibility I change my mind. And it's really good into Ice Golem. So, if you choose it, I mean, Ice Golem Hard and Hydra are 2 of my challenge areas here. So, if you choose it, it's fine. Skrank is attack 1 enemy. A 25% chance to weaken for 2 turns. Nice. Chance increases to 75% if target's under a burn. How do we get burn? Attacks one enemy 2 times. Heals by 15% on each crit. Places a 50% increased attack on champion for 2 turns if target's under a burn. Oh no. Where's the burn? Attacks all enemies. 75% chance of a burn. Debuff for 2 turns. Feel this champion's turn meter by 50% if at least one enemy is hit by critical hit. So on a 3-turn cooldown, we got a 2-turn burn. It's that simple. That burn can lead to some healing, that can to some increased attack, can lead to some weaken, can lead to, yeah, that's it, right? Burn does extra damage. It's nice. And we can also fill turn meter if we crit. We also get more attack and crit damage for every burn triggers up to 25%. This is just fine, right? Like, this is just good stuff. I get why this is good into Ice Golem, who's weak to burn. I get why this is good into Hydra, who's weak to burn. But like, attacks one enemy, and then the burn is all enemies. I guess I don't know. Maybe Skrank is better than I give credit for. I'm a little down on these because the Chemtum is so squishy. I bet you Skrank is too. But hey, if you want to pick Skrank, I'm not gonna be too sad. Mordecai's a nope. Mordecai's really, really great at stuff we do already. We're good at this spider. We like it's fine for Ice Golem. We have better options. It's good for Hydra. Maybe we do care. Maybe you can choose Mordecai. All right, you can choose Mordecai. Sure, sure, sure. I prefer you choose Skrank, but you could choose Mordecai. So 30% chance of decrease target's turn meter, 6% chance instead of targets under a burn, and then we have a turn meter increase and decrease similar to the Deacon Armstrong, and then finally a burn 100% if booked on a annoyingly 4-turn for 2 turns, and then you get increased attack for 2 turns. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this champion. It's an AoE burn, but like, why not just use Skrank at that point? I don't get why I care about Mordecai instead. I have Ugo fully built now. Because I have Ugo, because I have Rector Drath, I haven't built Ursala. Ursala is a real option. Ursala is a top option for building. Ursala is a simple healer, right? Really good into, again, content I sort of clear already, except really good into Hydra, really good into Chimera. I could use the extra Chimera champion, right? I'm not sad to have an extra Chimera. I'm not sad to have Iron Twins quality or Scarab King quality. What makes this good? All right, 40% chance of decreasing turn meter is nice on an A1, not great. Attacks all enemies on a 3-turn. Look at how many books this requires, though. This is why I haven't built it. Every time I look at these books, I'm like, I can't do this. Attacks all enemies. 70% chance of 50% decreased attack for 2 turns. Places a 50% increased attack on all allies. So they lose attack, you gain attack. Good stuff. This is a reviver on a 5-turn. If this was a 4-turn, it would be booked already. Revives all dead allies with 75% HP, fills their turn meters by 50, and they get a 6% increased defense and a 25% strengthen. So they get a bunch of defensive buffs and they get revived. If this was a 4-turn, like Rector Drath, we'd be kicking. But hey, Rector Drath is only one ally. This is all allies. Fine. I don't know. Ursala is very good. Another really, really, really strong option, Godseeker Neri. I'm just going to start opening a couple. Another really, really strong option, Godseeker Neri. We are not going to do Genbo. These are champions I'm going to show you. We are not going to do Genbo. We're not going to do Cornelia. I don't care about them. I have Ornn, and I want to talk about Ornn. We're not going to do Ruella. That's an ally attacker. I want to talk about Creadon, Ostrox, Sabatha, Vergus. I didn't even know Battle Sage was good. We're going to look at Battle Sages because I don't know what the hell Battle Sage does. Battle Sage, Terrell, Cardinal, and that's it. That's going to be the last ones we look at. All right, we're going to stop there. We've got Dark Elaine, Grush. We have all these. They're not going to be our choice. I'm not willing to do that. Although maybe I am for Annex. I've heard really good things about Annex. Everyone else is a nope. Right? These are the ones we're choosing from. All right, so let's start with Farkane the Fat, who's been sitting at 550 since like the beginning of my account. The reason to do Farkane is he's amazing for Chimera. I would use him exclusively for Chimera. I think if built, my Chimera could use work. It's good. It's not insane. It does really good damage, but doesn't get as many trials done as I would like. He's really good for trials, so he's really good. He's not really necessary otherwise. We like an A1 that does a decreased defense. We like a A2 that gives both burn and poison for 2 turns, right? 75% of burn and 2 poisons for 2 turns is really nice. And then we like and increase everyone's crit rate and crit damage, and then they all attack. All the other allies attack. However many allies there are, just all attack one enemy, and we can get that down to a 4 turn. Also is going to deflect 20% of all damage he's going to receive onto allies, and it's going to spread equally across all allies, which is going to increase everyone's survivability, which is really, really nice. Really just good champion overall. Probably who should be who I book next and who I build next. I've just put it off for so long, so it feels weird to finally do. Farcane should probably be your vote. Next up, we have Aniri, who I'm building currently. I'm looking at Aniri as much for me as for you. Straight up. Godseeker Aniri is part of like a bunch of different teams, like 2-person teams that are just insanely good. Really possibly good for Demon Lord, really great for Hydra Chimera. Good for like kind of everything, right? Um, insane for Sand Devil, can like solo Sand Devil, which is the real reason I built her. Just being able to have one champion I pair with one other person and do say Sand Devil is done. Oh, I want to do Lady Annabelle. Is just amazing. Because you're gonna need Lady Annabelle even if I don't. So we're gonna actually just quickly type her in because I don't see her here. We're gonna quickly type in Annabelle because I don't need Annabelle. Annabelle's job is done for me. Lady. There we go. Annabelle. So we're gonna take a quick break. Annabelle's slightly lowering, but you probably need Annabelle because Annabelle can absolutely solo Dreadhorn Bottom. So can Burengiri. They both do the same thing, but they absolutely crush it. They're not really good into anything else. But if you're having trouble Dreadhorn Bommel, you need Annabelle. Again, I have Commodus Dark Smile. I don't have to build Annabelle. But she's got a whatever on her A1, attack and heal. She's got a whatever on her A2. Nice leech. Decrease speed is nice, right? On targets, but they have to have less than 50% turn meter, which is sort of annoying. She just swap HP with the target ally, which is nice. And then she does a bunch of stuff. Like she plays Revive on Death on one of the two, and then everyone gets an increased speed. So it's nice. This is a really good champion, right? What's important though is heals this champion by 50% of max HP whenever an ally or an enemy dies. So the bombs that Bommel places count as enemies. They explode and do 40% damage. She heals 50% damage every time. That means if you can build her with enough defense to just survive the basic attacks of the champion, of the enemy that aren't that hard, you win. It's not complicated. She's really good for it. You build her, you get Bommel. You can do the same thing with Burengiri. That's why you build her. You should build her if you have her, if Bommel's a problem for you, if you're at a point where you're playing Bommel. Cool? If not, don't worry about that. All right, that's it. Let's go back to what we were talking about, which is to say Godseeker Neri. So she's got a nice heal on her A1. We don't super care. Um, we attack all enemies, we heal all allies by 50% of their max HP, and decrease duration of all buffs on all enemies by 1 turn, and increase duration of all buffs on allies by 1 turn. It's really strong. On a 3 turn, that's really strong. So that's gonna say basically like, oh, I've got Valkyrie. So Valkyrie's shield is an extra turn. Great stuff, right? Oh, that boss has a like increased defense. No, they don't. Rise of Glory, 50% revive on one ally and 50% turn meter, and they get all their cooldowns. Cooldowns are really, really nice. On a 4 turn, love to see it. Every bit as good as the Rector Drath revive, as tied for the best single target revive. For me, among among epics. Then the big money is the passive. Increase the amount of healing all allies receive by 10%. That's very nice. Actively, if an ally is about to get killed by a fatal hit, preempt it and place revive on death for 1 turn before the damage is taken, and you can decrease the cooldown on that to 4 turns. So that means every 4th turn, if an ally is going to die, they just pop right back up. Revive on death. Love it. This makes it so hard to kill your team. Godseeker Neri is like an early account game changer for like a ridiculous amount of content. You'll note there's a bunch of different masteries. Um, Sand Devil and Ice Golem, just being able to handle those is so big. I can barely put it into words. Really good for your early Demon Lord teams and maybe even later Demon Lord teams. Can help with Hydra if like you can survive for a while. Just all around stellar, stellar, stellar champion. Love Godseeker Neri. Hatatsu is one you can choose for me. This is a super defender. Like got really good clan boss, decrease attack, increase defense. You may want this for clan boss. You may want this for your early ice golem. Not great for late game. again, one my account is probably beyond, but like cool as heck. A nice attack one enemy, and it gives some leech. Leech is nice. Same basic concept as Deacon. Attacks all enemies, 50% chance of a 50% decreased attack debuff for 2 turns. Again, when people attack you and they do 50% less damage, that's good. Places 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns, and 50% continuous heal on all allies for 1 turn. So you just get a nice on a 3 turn, 2 turn defense, and a quick heal. And then we just casually remove 1 debuff from the champ at the start of each turn, and we'll remove the crowd control ones before any others. That's great. That means he's just sort of always going to do the thing. If you can set up your clan boss team so that he's the one that constantly gets attacked by the boss's stun, you're going to win. You're going to do a ton of damage. Really, really, really great into Demon Lord early. Probably shouldn't be my pick for you, but it could be. Like, he's cool enough. I'm not sad to build him. Next up, we have Venomage. Venomage I have built. Venomage has been an account changer, and I want to go over why quickly. Um, He's amazing into it's not listed here, Grim Forest. He's like one of the best Grim Forest champions. Everything in Grim Forest heals itself, and he says, no, the hell you do not. Really good into Dragon too. But like really solid into Dream Lord, really, really good into Amius if I ever get there. Really bad at Curse City, y'all. I don't know why. Great into waves. Just overall a top-notch champion for like almost every piece of content. But if you're struggling with Grim Forest, build this dude. Lady, build this lady. So attacks 192 times with a double destroy target's matched HP, which gives him a little bit of use into Scarab King, who does not want his matched HP destroyed. If they're under heal reduction, they're going to get wrecked by the max HP hit. We're also going to activate up to 2 poison debuffs on the target, which is fantastic. You might have just gotten Xenomorph. You might have Ezio. If you do, getting this is really nice. Attacks 1 enemy, and then we place it 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns, and it 50 decreased attack. Love it if they're under poison. So they have less defense and less attack. So they're taking more damage and doing less. Really neuters an enemy. Really amazing for clan boss. This is why it's so good into clan boss. Then also just tackle enemies and 100% chance when booked of just they don't heal. 100% heal reduction for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. That means they never get to heal unless they're faster than you by a lot. Also a chance of 2 poison debuffs, so he places just a little bit of poison himself, right? 2 out of every 3 turns they're gonna have 2 poison. Hey, by the way, if they're under heal reduction, they also deal 15% less damage. Game changer of a champion. I wish I booked Venomage way sooner. Just Venomage is like the GOAT. One of my favorite epics in the game. Top 5 to be sure. Like chilling with Aniri and Rector Draff and Deacon and Geomancer and Whisper is Venomage. All right, next up, Mycelic Priest Ornn. Ornn can be built to solo a bunch of really hard content. I cannot quite get the gear for that. If you go with regeneration and immortality sets, he just can live forever and solo the hard modes of a bunch of different bosses. I can't quite get there. I can do the regular dungeons. If you're looking for help for Dragon or Ice Golem on regular, he'll do the job. He's also really good into Demon Lord because he survives freaking forever and does a ton of damage. But I haven't built, but I'm a little disappointed because I really, really, really need the help in the hard mode. And he's not, I just don't have the gear to get him there yet. I want to build him and let him do that and then just be sort of done with hard mode for these things, but we'll get there eventually. Um, Attacks one enemy 2 times, and each one has a nice poison. Not the best chance in the world, but hey, poison good. Attack one enemy, each chance has a 75% chance of instantly activating 1 poison on the target. Not bad. We're not sad at a poison activation. And then attacks all enemies. This is where the money starts coming. This and the passive. Attacks all enemies. Each has a 50% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity for 2 turns, and heals for each poison placed by the skill. So if we place 2 poisons, we're gonna just heal as we do it. Really good stuff. Whenever a poison is activated, increase HP and defense by 5% up to 25%, and it's going to reset each round, but good enough, right? So we can solo like crazy with this. This is going to be great. It's just going to take you forever to get the right gear. Having a champion that can do this without extra work, without extra help, is a huge benefit to your account. But I'm not there yet, so be prepared. All right, Create on the Blue is the best freeze epic in the game. That's why we're talking about him. I have not built him. He is a really good option, one I would not be sad if you chose. Really good into Doom Tower too. So he manipulates speed and ends up freezing. So this is going to be amazing into Fire Knight Hard. I'm good into Fire Knight Hard because I have Newt, but having Newt and this just means Fire Knight Hard should be a joke. Really good into Dreadhorn Bommel too, who doesn't like having his speed adjusted. And then, yeah, solid into Dark Fae, really weak into Scarab King. So 3-time attack is great. Each one, 25% chance of freeze that we can book up. Next up, attacks all enemies 2 times. Each has a 45% chance of a freeze for 1 turn. So 3 times with the cheese freeze, 2 times with the freeze. We love to see it, right? 3-turn cooldown for that big old freeze. Then we have 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns and fills turn meters by 15% on a, you guessed it, 3-turn. Oh, by the way, let's fill our turn meter by 5% for every freeze debuff placed. Absolutely sick for wave content and absolutely insane for Fire Knight Heart. Really good for Spider on normal if you're struggling with Spider on normal, because freezing all the spiders is pretty good. If you're struggling with Dreadhorn Bommel, he doesn't like being frozen and having the speed thing happen. So you have optionality for where this is used. I want it for Fire Knight Hard. Ostrox is one I haven't even looked at, but it's super good. This is Hydra focused, and I need Hydra help. I need more than one Hydra team, and I really only have one good Hydra team. Also, Dragonheart dies, which is really nice. I didn't even realize that. Couldn't to Frost Spider, which is interesting, but okay. Attacks an enemy and transfers 1 debuff from the enemy to the target with the low. Also heals a random ally by 10%. Not bad, right? No, just fine. Good A1. Then we have attacks all enemies. If 3 or fewer enemies alive, we have 75% of block debuff for 2 turns. If 4 enemies alive, block debuff goes for 3 turns. I'm perfectly fine with the 2-turn block debuff, but hey, if it's 3 turns, that's fine. The Hydra always means we're gonna get the 3-turn block debuff. That's why this is so good into Hydra. 3 turns, and this is a 3-turn cooldown, so we're just gonna always have block debuffs up as long as we can keep this dude alive, which is really nice. Then, hey, if we do happen to have a buff landed, we can use our 4-turn, remove 1 random debuff for our allies, and they get 50% increased accuracy. Not bad, right? Whenever an enemy attempts to place a buff on this champion, 20% chance to reflect it back onto the attacker. Really solid champion. One I like a lot that I'd really like to mess with at some point. Not one I'm sad if you choose in the slightest. We continue on. What is this? That's just where we wrote that. Get out of here. Dawncaller Sabbatha is another reviver. This one's pretty cool. I have a legendary that does something similar, so I don't know if I need her, but I just wanted to highlight her because I think she's cool, and you might want to use her on your accounts because she's just really good for kind of everything, right? Solid into Chimera, really good into Demon Lord, and really good into like basically every dungeon. So just a good champion to have access to. Also pretty solid into Arena. Just a godlike reviver for protection. Healer on the A1, same as so many others. 60% increased defense and a 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns is great. So, decreased defense has 2 uses, right? It makes you take less damage, and also your defense-based champions, Leonardo, whatever, are going to do more damage. Well, if you're using increased defense as an attack buff, sometimes you also have attackers, and like now you have to split your buffs. Fortifying Day on a 3-turn says, no, don't worry about it, we got that. We also have a revive with only 25% HP, which sucks, but 100% turn meter is wild, and a block damage for 2 turns is even wilder. So whatever she brings back from the dead is going to have block damage for 2 turns and immediately go. That's phenomenal. Also, whenever it's revived, it's going to get a decreased cooldown. On a 4-turn, that's amazing. Like, that is the money skill. I don't know if I need another single target reviver. We have options there, but Dawncaller Sabbath is really cool, and a champion I urge you to take a look at. Vergus is one of my first champions in the game, and one I would be really happy if you picked, but you don't have to. Vergus is good for exactly one thing. He can be built to solo Scarab King. You basically increase his resistance a lot, and he just completely ignores and wrecks the face off Scarab King. He's good into Demon Lord, right? He's good into all the early dungeons, but he would be for Bommel and Scarab King, where his resistance can just say, no, I don't have any trouble with this. So attacks one enemy and has a 40% chance of a 30% reflect damage on a random ally for 2 turns. Nice, not amazing, but nice. where we're going to get the money is the passive, by the way. Place a 50% continuous heal and 30% increased speed and 30% reflect damage on a target ally for 3 turns. Also place a 50% ally protection on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and a 60% increased defense buff on this champion. That's pretty good, right? It's based on defense. He's increasing his defense, which is doing the thing we talked about where it's increased attack and defense. And he's healing himself, and he's going faster, and he's reflecting damage, and he's doing all this good stuff. But the real money is the passive effect that places a shield on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP for 2 turns. Whenever they lose 10 or more of their max HP from a hit, so if they lose 10% of their HP, they suddenly have a shield equal to 10% of max HP for 2 turns, and they get a 15% continuous heal every time their HP drops below 50%. And this is on a 1-turn cooldown when booked. Vergus is really good. Vergus is really, really slept on. Largely, again, for like good for Demon Lord. Don't sleep on it for Demon Lord, because ally protection is really good into Demon Lord. But being able to just say Scarab King is not a problem is huge. So Vergus is a fine option. You might notice that I hate Scarab King and it bothers me. What the hell is a Battle Sage? Battle Sage is good into kind of nothing, just sort of generically good. All right, I guess we don't care about Battle Sage. Why it makes Battle Sage attack all enemies, increase attack, and remove all debuffs. That's not bad. Can't remove the attack, increase attack, and then revive on death on an ally for 3 turns. Not bad, right? 4-turn cooldown is the rough part there. 3-turn cooldown, not bad. I don't know. I don't know why this is so high ranked, but whatever. Tayrel is another option to book out to build. Oh, we're missing one more. Oh no, we're gonna have to type in a name. I'm so sorry, because there's one more option I really, really like. Terrell is just a good all-arounder. Again, probably not for my account, based on where I am, right? This isn't any of the stuff I need help in. We've talked about that a million times. Good in Tyrant Golem, though. But otherwise, whatever. Attacks 192 times. Place a decrease attack on an A1 is nice. 2 turns. Attacks all enemies. 60% decreased defense. Really nice. It targets on a decreased attack, which A1 gives you. It's also going to put them to sleep. This is damage inflicted proportional defense, which is nice again. If attacks one enemy, decreases turn meter by 50%. If the attack fully depletes turn meter, it will stun for two turns. 2-turn stun is huge, and again we have a defense based attack. This is just a really, really good damage dealer. I'm gonna type in the name of the champion I don't want to forget before I forget it, because this is kind of who I hope you pick. So if I spelled this right, its name is Skaramis. This is like genuinely who I hope you pick over almost everyone, like Barricane and Scramus. But I'm going to build whoever you want, and then we'll take it into a bunch of content and do a video on it, in case you're wondering what's going to happen. He's got a provoke and a self-sustain, which means he's great for Hydra. And I need some more provokes for Hydra. He can be what is called a mischief tank, which basically means that he can wreck the head of mischief. Good enough for me, right? A provoker wrecks head of mischief. I'm perfectly happy. So we don't need him for any other content, but like that's fine. I'm fine with a couple specialists, and Hydra sort of requires specialists. Attack an enemy, 80% chance of stealing, 15% turn meter, 20% chance of stun if the target's turn meter is fully depleted. Whatever. Attacks all enemies. Decrease duration of all enemy buffs by 1 turn. Lovely. 60% chance of decrease attack. Lovely. Fills turn meter by 10%, and for each buff that has its duration decreased. Lovely. The money is found on the 3-turn cooldown, 75% chance of a 1-turn provoke, and a counterattack and a continuous heal. That's it. That's great. So you get 100% provoke. It's only 1 turn, but fine. And then he attacks, gets counterattacked, and he's going to get that continuous heal. We can do enough turn meter manipulation. He is great into Hydra, specifically a Hydra provoker. Lovely champion, really strong. Would be happy if he was the pick. All right, Cardinal is not for me, but might be for you. I mean, again, you can vote for her, but she doesn't really. Again, she's fine into Scarab King. I'm not sad to have her Scarab King. She's another arena. She's one of the best arena epics and one no one really talks about. Good into waves, which is nice to have access to as well. Poison on the A1 is nice, not amazing, but nice. The A2 heals by 30% of max HP and gives 6% increased defense. Again, really nice. And then on a 5-turn, it's a 5-turn on epics, but whatever. Revive all dead allies, 25% max HP, but boost their turn meter to max. So it's going to revive them all, and everyone gets to go. and she should survive because she's got the increased defense thing going. So if you can keep her alive, she can bring back everyone, and then they immediately attack. That's it. It's really strong. She's nice. Not amazing, but nice. And then Annex is the last option. The last option I'm going to give you is Annex. He's really into Clan Boss and PvE. He's got decreased defense weak and increases your damage a lot, basically. Again, my account is probably beyond the use for this champion, but note how good he is in fundamentally like all the normal dungeons and Demon Lord, which is stuff you should care about. So we've got a decreased defense chance, up 50% decreased defense chance on a 2-hitter from the A1. Only one enemy, but still, we're using him for bosses, right? Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each one can decrease accuracy and give poison for 3 turns of poison is nice. And then attacks one enemy, 75% chance of a 25% weaken for 2 turns, and heals by 50% of the damage. That's really, really nice, right? So we're going to be weakening and increasing the damage, keeping you alive. And then the money in the passive. We get a 6% increased defense on this champ for 2 turns when the HP drops below 75%, which is going to happen, right? And then a 50% increased attack for 2 turns when it drops below 50%. Cool. And then we get an extra turn if we're alive below 10%. So we can do other things like hopefully get that extra poison and get that extra increased defense in, so on and so forth. Really solid champ. Not amazing. Again, one that my account may be beyond, but really cool, especially like if you're looking for a little bit of extra clan boss damage, which is the real moneymaker for Annex. All right, you get to vote on what champion I am going to buff. That's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. Peace.